Welcome to Monday with McCove. Sounds like my voice isn't quite back. Um, Thank you for joining me today. Hopefully somebody can jump on live. Just wanted to take a few minutes to pray. And I guess before I do that, just introduce myself in case you just happen to be catching this and aren't really familiar with who I am. I am McCove Johnson. I'm a Christian women's life coach. I live in Alaska with my 3 young adult children, and my littlest just turned 3. So it's been quite the adventure. Um, I'm a coach because I'm passionate about helping women get through their messes and struggles of life faster than I did. I pay close attention to what I learned, and I go back and look at what worked and what would have made it work better. And do a lot of healing prayer to clean up things where God can do the work so much faster than we can, um, and then get some of that big stuff out of the way so that we can start making lasting changes in our lives. Um, so, yeah, if you happen to join and have a prayer request, or even if you just watch the replay and have a prayer request, you can share it. But I'm just going to pray as He leads me, and then I have a few thoughts to share on slowing down and paying attention to what we need so that we can ask for what we need. So, Heavenly Fathers, thank you for every woman that will watch this, every man that will watch this, and ask that you be their peace. Whatever's going on in their life, that you would show them a way to rest in you, a way to be at peace because of who you are, not because of their circumstances, but because of who you are. I just ask for strategies where they're needed, wisdom, new skills, new connections, just to show them who you want to be for them in their current circumstances. What is it that you want them to learn about you before they get out of the current circumstances that they're in? And bless them this week with the knowledge of you. Okay, so some thoughts about slowing down. Had a couple different situations this last week where I thought if I would have just slowed down and thought about that a little more, I could have set this up better and avoided just making things harder than they needed to be. And especially in the area of communication. It's super easy to just think that we know what we're talking about, assume that we know what the other person is talking about, and run forward. Where if we would slow down and clarify, what did you really mean by that? And let me paint a picture back to you of what I heard to get that immediate feedback, rather than like, oh no, I got that, I understood, and then rush on. So a situation where we had a meeting and a new idea was explained, and went away with like, yep, I understand that, I know where you're coming from, and trusting that the other person would have thought it through like I would think it through. And we're different people, so that's not true. And realizing today when something came up was like, oh, we didn't clarify anywhere near enough on this. Hi, Alyssa. So now going, okay, so now we need to go back and have another conversation, which again will be harder because now it's 2 weeks later. So like, I remember you said this, but they might remember I said something else. And just to go back through and going, okay, so like, I know for myself to process things through, I need to write things down. And in that process of writing things down, I probably would have had more questions, the questions that I have now. So things could have been defined and could have been clarified 2 weeks ago instead of, hi Dee, thanks for joining and thanks for the hearts. Hi Alyssa. Um, so just that realizing that I'm starting to be aware of what I need, but I'm usually aware of it after the fact. And so to start pulling that in and to give myself that space to have more questions, to go ahead and clarify and be like, okay, let me explain this, make sure that I heard you right. Or have you thought through this part instead of just assuming? And like, it's good to give people the benefit of the doubt, but it's also great to clarify and make sure that just that we have the same understanding, that we're speaking the same language. And so in another situation, I had a bunch of information to convey, and I had written it up just kind of in like outline bullet format. And if, again, looking hindsight, because I delivered the information that way, and then we had a meeting that was really hard to keep focused and keep in context. And so coming out of it the other side, being like, okay, so if I had slowed down and thought through that process, I would have realized all that information I was conveying needed to be conveyed in a different format. Because listed out and bulleted like I had it didn't have context for the people that were getting this information for the first time. And so it made things confusing as to like what the goal was, what we were trying to accomplish. Yes, Dee, catch the prayer on the replay, and let me know if like getting the notifications like 5 minutes ahead of time is helpful. That was kind of my goal, and that hasn't been happening. But if that's helpful, I can schedule that if I get it in my calendar to do that. But so looking back, I can see like, oh, if I had presented this information in context, then this meeting and the conversation would have been much easier to keep on focus and to really accomplish what we were trying to accomplish. And so just like kind of been pondering on that today of like, how do I figure out what I need in the moment and then be able to say like, give myself that space of 30 seconds or 10 seconds or, I don't know, try it. And it probably depends on how tense the situation is, how much time I need to sit back and go, okay, do I really have everything I need here? Are there other questions that I don't have answered, or things like that? And to think like going forward, what would set myself up for success? What would being kind to me look like? I think that's a concept from Overwhelmed by Sherry Gregory and Kathy Lipp of how do I be kind to me? So like looking ahead to maybe another meeting, what would I need in that meeting to feel set up for success? And Brene Brown says for her meetings, she makes notes and she takes notes into her meetings. She's like, this is important to me. I've got notes. I don't want to miss anything. And, so like giving that permission of like, yeah, I could take notes in with me and I could look at them and be like, okay, got everything. I can take notes during the meeting. And, then that gives me a place to reflect back of, okay, this is what I've got down. Did I miss anything? Did I misunderstand anything? And so just, thinking through, I guess, kind of in that area of communication is what I'm talking about today, of just slowing down to, ask the other person if they understood, making sure for myself that I understood and have the information I need. So I hope that's helpful. And if you guys have other thoughts of, like where slowing down to have that awareness would be helpful, or whatever, that would be great. Hey, Emma, I am just about to wrap up, but thanks for joining us. And yeah, so you can watch the replay. I prayed and shared some thoughts about just slowing down to be aware of what we need so that we can actually ask for it. And pray you guys all have an awesome day. Thanks for joining me.